Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kaha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And you can see I got Danny Haifong on the screen here, and along with his guest, I forget her name. She'll say it. She kind of looks like Maya Angelou. But as you see the title of the video, Iran just scored a huge victory over Israel, and the IDF will be destroyed. You know, let me just close this blind because the sun is starting to come up. A little bit later start than what I wanted to. It's usually dark. I like to do the Lord's work first before I start my workout. A late start this morning. All right, but yeah, that embarrassing victory that they tried to downplay and completely, lied about on the media, in the mainstream Western media, which is controlled primarily by, the imposters. And then, and you look at all the turmoil. I mean, in almost every major university in America, there's protest about this thing. This thing is not going away, and you got to remember Benjamin Netanyahu. He's in trouble legally if this war stops. He has to go back to court and possibly be thrown out of office and even go to jail, face prison time for many of the things that he's done. His country is in an uproar. The people are not dwelling in safety, peace and safety alone. All right. It's clearly they're not the people. They're not fulfilling prophecy as far as Israel is concerned. They are fulfilling prophecy as far as Esau having acquired the land of Israel. Remember in Ezekiel 36th chapter, even the high places are ours in possession. And they, through the Balfour Declaration and schemes, death. Matter of fact, let's get a scripture on it. Let's get Sirach 10 and 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So they translated the Holy Land into their own possession by treacherous dealings, injuries, and deceit. Lies, even claiming to be what they are not. And, it's almost ridiculous that they would even attempt such a thing and think that they could bury the records and the evidences, physical evidences and records forever. And that, no one would ever talk about it. And, hence the reason why they're trying to bring all these laws into effect. That if you, the whole anti-thing, if you say anything anti-thing and then hide and cover up the true history, and that they're just a bunch of cutthroat converts and are not the actual people. Okay? And, and it's just, I just find it hilarious and just utterly ridiculous that you think you could hide something of that magnitude, forever, for century after century after century, when there's a mountain of evidences proving what we say to be true. They just have chosen to look the other way or shine the camera on something else instead of that story. Okay? But I'm going to let them now speak for a little bit and bring out a couple of scriptures. This won't be a long video, but it'll be very, to the point. But here we go.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the program. It's Danny Haifong. We are in a hotel in Zhejiang.
And Danny Haifong continually refers to what you refer to as the Middle East as Western Asia, because that's exactly what it is. All right. So is Europe. This whole Eurasia thing is Europe. Slovakia is Asia. Europe sits in Asia. The Middle East, which is Western Asia, sits in Asia. All right. So you have Western Asia, which makes up, the Middle East and Europe. And then you have the eastern portion of Asia, Russia, China, and Southeast Asia. It's all Asia.
Province in China. I am with Margaret Kimberly back again. It's been a while, Margaret. Good to be back with you, and it's good to spend time here in China. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. I've already told you. I'll tell everybody else that we both live in New York City and haven't seen each other for a couple of years. So we meet up in China.
Yeah.
But it's great to be part of this delegation. It really is.
Yes, so we have been traveling throughout China, which we will get to. But first, let's begin with what's been happening. This has happened to me a few times. I go away, I travel abroad. I was in Vietnam in October, and then of course October 7th occurred. And now we are in the throes of an escalating situation. Iran retaliated and responded to Israel's attack on its embassy in Syria, which killed several military personnel. The attack from Iran was historic in many ways. The first time Iran has done such a thing. Penetrated the Iron Dome many times, despite the U.S. and Israel's attempt to say otherwise. And of course, this comes...
You see, so they wanted to control the narrative and hide the fact that they got beat up. The bully, because once the bully gets smacked around, gets beat up, he loses his power as the bully. All right, most bullies, once they get roughed up, on the playground, after school, whatever, not long after other kids, some of the other victims, they lose their power. They get roughed up again, and all of a sudden they're just not the bully anymore. And and the events surrounding October 7th are very cloudy and very sketchy. Especially knowing that with the evidence proving that the IDF, that Benjamin Netanyahu, your boy Bibi, was very well aware of this particular attack, and then the whole, what they call it, I forget the code that they use when they just allow everyone to die because they don't want to, the fact that they were aware that this thing was a threat, that this thing was going to happen, it looks to me like a very failed, not to let a good crisis go to waste. And that's why there's such uproars, because basically they tried to exploit a crisis by allowing it to happen when they got wind of it. All right, no one wants to talk about that narrative, at least in the West they don't. And to save political face and to gain power, but it actually has worked in a complete and opposite, because now what they've done is they brought so many more nations against them, right? And people are seeing that they're not fit to rule. This is Jeremiah 49:7. And it reads, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. So once again, referring back to Esau, Edom, being the least of the flock, and Amalek is at the head of that. And look what Amalek has done. At the same time, even speaking about Amalek as if they're not the Amalekites is actually hilarious. It really is.
In a broader situation, which I think is important to talk about, since I think this is going to be an ongoing development, the broader situation is that there's still a genocide happening in Gaza, and there is much resistance to it. Especially in the region. And so I'm wondering what...
Not just in the region, but around the world. Like you said, almost, and it's not all here in America, and almost all the elite colleges, protests are going on. All right? I went by DePaul the other day, passing by, and, saw all the small hats and the with their little flags, and the Palestinians with their kufiyas, and yeah, and you know, all the drums and the noise and the police presence and the screaming and the yelling, you know, and eventually all that screaming and yelling is going to turn to violence. What you're seeing is uproars of the people. That's and then on the Lord warned that. He told us that there will be uproars of the people. All right. I was gonna get it in Matthew, but I'll go ahead and get it in Ezra, the 9th chapter. Second Ezra 9 and 1. And it reads, point of being in 3, but I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, and he said unto me, Salakia, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, that thou seest the part of the science past, which I have told thee before. And we being the watchmen, prophecy, weathermen, we're watching. It's all about the prophecies. That's the most important thing. All right? And how to filter the events. You know, almost every biblical scholar, historian, and even most people within the churches agree that, you know, we're in the latter days. We're in the last days. And so you have to pay attention to the latter day prophecies. And they're all playing out. All right? It says, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And he's doing that with these crazy weather events, and you know, and all these other things that have happened. You know, these tornadoes and the earthquakes and the fires and the volcanoes. Just, you know, these, animal die-offs and plagues. These unbelievable amount of crickets and insects that have spiders, all kind of weird invasions, man, that just don't happen, right? The whole two sets of different cicadas, and the gigantic cicada sex party that Esau was calling it, that was actually going to bring disease. Man, I'll tell you, man, that, you know, Esau, when when he gets his hand on anything, he corrupts it. Right? Once again, don't let a good crisis go to waste. All right. Verse 4. Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For it's like all that is made in the world have the beginning and the end, and the end is manifest. The end is happening. We're living out the last moments of the last days.
What your impressions of this has been, as you know, we've both been covering these U.S. wars, these escalating wars for so long. I mean, how do you see this situation? Where does it fit?
It's I have to say that it's one of the reasons it's uniquely bad is that Biden is president right now. We have a president who's very limited person, frankly, limited intellectually, limited in his worldview, always a staunch Zionist. His first response after October 7th was to go to Israel, kiss Netanyahu's ring, and give him a blank check. And 35.
We're also talking about a man who's a noted racist. I mean, he's on record, on video, saying some of the most hateful, racist things, you know, toward so-called Negroes, all right, and other minorities, and multiple occasions. But yet, somehow, all they got washed under the rug, and he ran with Obama, and all of a sudden, now this dude loves ninjas, you know? And if you believe that, why do you think he lined you up first to take that thing that, you know, that so many people now are starting to, you know, that thing that got all these people dropping dead from myocarditis and all these other things that did more damage than the thing it was supposed to help. All right, and the first people he put on the list, you know, was, you know, the brown people. All right, but this is Jeremiah 49:7 again. And it reads, concerning Edom, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? All right. Flee ye back and dwell deep, O ye inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring calamity upon Esau, upon him, at the time that I will visit him. And he's going to visit what with war, because these people, what their action is drawing the whole world into conflict. All right. Breaking up, you know, unions and breaking up treaties and all sorts of things, man. This is Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, all right, shall draw them out. He shall make their habitation desolate with them. And that's exactly what's going to happen, because not only is the IDF going to be destroyed, like it says in this video, but the whole place where they are is going to be destroyed. All right. So let's go to about the 21st minute mark. Yeah.
If you wanted to talk about this change that's happening in the world, which is, I think, maybe not fully the cause of why the United States does what it does, but certainly is a huge factor in why the United States is behaving, and why NATO and why the rest of this imperial apparatus is behaving in the way it is.
Well, ever since, I think you have to go back 30 years to the fall of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the Soviet Union. And I was actually an adult, alive, and unlike you. I was alive and an adult at the time, and I remember naively thinking people talked about a peace dividend. It's like, well, if there's no more Soviet Union, we don't need all the money for defense. And well, the people in Washington said, oh, hooray, no more Soviet Union, we can do what we want. The world is our oyster. The U.S. can control events. The U.S. can do whatever it wants. And that was true for a time. But
see, that was true. That's not true anymore. It made me think of that song by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And it comes on it saying that the world is my oyster, and the U.S. has led the world along with the people that joined unto it into destruction, and now they're all it's all falling apart, and they're turning on them. All right, it's not looking good for the future. The voice of the U.S. is not one that's welcomed anymore. There's so many videos, there's so many statements being said by people, very powerful people, that are joining themselves together against the EU, NATO, and the America, which is all starting to there. If you're really paying attention, they're not on good terms. And the people saying that the America is basically not fit to rule, to have a voice of being a leadership position in the world. This is the consensus of the world. This is not me saying this. All right. Although I do agree with that, they're not in position, to be leaders, world leaders. But it seems that that the world is beginning to see that and feeling that way. All right. So this is I'll read two more scriptures and get ready to wrap this up. So I gotta chop it up with the brother out in L.A. This is Jeremiah 59 and 25. And it reads, the Lord hath opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. So the Lord's getting ready to release his armory. He gave the smith the mind and the wisdom to create the waster. All right, and plus he's going to send the chariots, and they're going to fire down fire as well. So all these ICBMs and the splitting of the fusion, the splitting of the atom, creating this nuclear power, that's prophecy in the Bible. All right, Oppenheimer played a role in the Bible. The Lord, he's the smith. All right. And the Lord put it. He didn't do that on his own. Remember, the scriptures clearly tells you that in your sleep and in a vision and a dream, the Lord utters instructions unto you. All right, and that's prophecy. Okay, and the Lord's going to use that His creation to destroy the power and rulership of Edom before the face of the whole world, as He's raising up the people on a complete and total bottom. All right. Molding us. The house of David is being built right before your face. It's not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. And there's nothing they can do about it. All right, eventually they're going to shut down these videos and demonize us, and that's still going to come to naught. The faster they do that, the faster they're going to come down. All right, it's all going to come back on them, which I believe is why they've been hesitant to move. But this is Jeremiah 50 and 49 and 45, Salakia. And it says, therefore have ye the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations, he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And so, that what's happened is that the decisions and the things that has been done by these people have pretty much sealed their own doom. They started an a domino effect of events that can't be turned back. All right, so with that, I'm gonna give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abba Babal.